Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show. It's episode 64. There is songs about 64 that Krisha was singing, but we decided to not let him sing it on the podcast, so I waited to press record so that we wouldn't include it. But I am, of course, delighted to say we are back, and I am joined today by Mr. Alan Williamson. How are you doing there, Alan?
How's it going? How are we, lads?
Excellent. Individual intros, lads. Krisha, welcome back.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Paul. Hi. We've got somebody with us. What the hell?
We have a guest. And lads, I think it's clear now, we only bring this man on when we actually have important news to tell you. Otherwise, we wouldn't bring him on because we insist he's actually doing bits of work. You know, this is technically a break. This is a break for you, Tev. Welcome back to the Irish Mags Show, Tev and Barry.
Sorry.
Have you on.
Oh, sorry,
you know
lads.
when Tev's here. You know when Tev's here, something good is coming. Something good.
Quality control.
No.
Buzz is getting dumped off at one or the other.
We shall see if there's still four of us here by the end of the episode. But before we kick off, lads, we have a huge announcement to make, and it's a big one for the Irish Mags Show podcast. We are delighted to say that we are now proudly sponsored by Flagman Ireland, our first official sponsor for the Irish Mags Show. So for anyone who has ever encountered an Irish Mags flag on your travels, I'm sure you've all seen them, and there's a new one just released, which I'll get to very shortly. They are all provided by Flagman Ireland, who specialize in quality, digitally printed, personalized flags, bunting, tablecloths, table flags, and hand wavers. Alan's new house is full of all of those things. Their online store also stocks and sells a wide range of international and domestic flags, including our heavy woven government standard Irish tricolour in various sizes and finishes. Not to mention our Irish Mags flags, which we're hoping to make available for Irish Mags yourselves to be able to order. For any queries, any information you want to find, or to have a look at what they offer, it's Flagman Ireland, all one word, .ie. Shout out to Flagman Ireland, the new sponsor of the Irish Mags Show.
Love it.
Great stuff.
Love it.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Speaking of which, I was going to hold on to this, but there's no point waiting any longer. Lads, we have a new flag. It is on the screen. Modeled by apparently the Irish Mags flag model himself, Alan Williamson.
There he is.
If you're listening on Spotify, you won't see it on your screen. Although actually you can see video on Spotify, or you can check it out on YouTube. But we have a new Alexander Isak flag.
Yeah.
It is glorious. Who put the ball in the Mackham's net, lads?
Alexander Isak.
Look, smile on his face. He's so happy to hold it. You know, it's like
Absolutely buzzing he was. Every time Alan gets his hands on a new flag, it's like Christmas Day for Alan. So
Absolutely love it.
So yes, if flags are your thing, get on over to flagmanireland.ie. And before we get into things, lads, one of the reasons Tev here, I'm going to just bring you through what we're going to chat about today really quickly. We might spend like 20 seconds talking about that Man City game and then delete it from our minds for all eternity. And we're going to have a bit of a preview on the Nottingham Forest game coming up, because 50% of this podcast, as you see us on screen, are going to that game. Eyes emoji. Whether we'll be coming back is another story. But speaking of flags and all things Irish Mags, our big topic for today, folks, is our plans for the Carabao Cup final. Yeah. You may have picked up, we've mentioned it on the pod, we've said it across WhatsApp. It's been a lot of things in the background happening for weeks, in terms of what we're going to be doing the weekend of the final on Irish soil, in London, in Newcastle, all over the world. And as we said, we're giving Tev a break because he's finally got all his work done. And we're going to bring you through all of the plans for the Carabao Cup final weekend, which on the day of recording, lads, is less than a month away.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
Oh, baby. So we'll get to that very, very, very shortly. But before we do that, lads, we have to get it out of the system, because while Chris still has alcohol in his glass, we might as well talk about that game that passed at the weekend. Manchester City 4, Newcastle 0. Quite a disappointment. A lot of high hopes.
Yeah.
The form they were in, the form we were in. Alan, it wasn't to be. Is there anything to be said at all? Or are we hoping this is just, it happened? It's not going to happen again.
I think it's just going to be one of those things that had happened. We always used to give out when teams people would say, so-and-so played badly against us. I don't think it was a case of that. I just think Marmoush was unplayable.
Yeah.
We couldn't get near him. I think Man City just had a really, really, really good day. And unfortunately for us, we happened to be the team that did it against. If we were still there now, we wouldn't have scored. It was men against boys from minute 1 to minute 90. Best team won, and it's very, very tough to say that when you've seen how bad City have been this year. But come here, we'll look at it and we'll grow from it. We'll hopefully rectify it this weekend as well.
Yeah. I mean, men against boys. At least we had one boy who was a star, which was Lewis Miley.
Yeah.
I mean, he played very well, even though the rest of the team lackadaisically lumped about the place. Honestly, I felt ill watching it because I was kind of just worried about the next couple of fixtures. You know, I was just like, oh Christ. At least we have a bit of a superstar in midfield coming
definitely
very soon.
Yeah,
Very poor.
Yeah, that's. You can talk about the performance, and you can be beaten by a better opposition, and that's definitely what happened, Tev. But a lot of what I've seen on social media and across the Irish Mags WhatsApp groups and stuff was that we didn't turn up, and it was a question of we rolled over almost, let them tickle the bellies, and then it's this question of was the plan to stand off rather than press? Did he get the tactics wrong, or did the lads not execute the tactics? Or like I said, was it just one of those days where nothing was going to work?
I think you can look at it both ways. One, obviously, in terms of the competition of the Premier League this season, you can see the amount of teams that are fighting for top 4 or top 5. So every game is important, So even if it's City away, we showed that we went to Arsenal, we went to Tottenham, etc. We won. But again, there's a thing about kind of having form and then also performing on the day. And City were on form. They just cut them on a bad timing. But I think in terms of us kind of going to the next stage, we need to be able to go to City and kind of get a result. But again, as long as we kind of take the learnings and kind of our bounce back is really good. So I'd be expecting kind of a huge performance now against Forest. But Krisho is right in saying that we need to kind of get used to kind of going to these. Like I always have to see away for the cup last season, and it was 2-0 that we lost. But I think we only got a touch of the ball probably once in the second half. So we need there's a thing about losing, but I don't mind if it's 4-3 or 5-2. But when you don't lay a glove, that's the problem. But look, again, City are a top class team and they're always going to bounce back. But I think it's learnings, but it's all eyes on Forest now, just to put it right.
It is indeed. And Alan, I mean, I was going to bring up is it true that it's 16 games in a row we've now lost there or something away to City?
The last person to score in a Newcastle jersey in a Premier League match at the City of Manchester Stadium was DeAndre Yedlin.
I mean, that's fucking Newcastle heritage right there. I don't care what anyone says. I hope. Okay, my new lifelong dream is that because he's still playing, Yedlin is still playing, I believe.
Over
Inter Miami.
Oh, he's with Inter Miami. Sorry. My lifelong dream has become there will be a day when I'm watching a match on a pirate stream with an American channel. Newcastle are playing City, and DeAndre Yedlin is a pundit, and the little thing comes up with his name, and underneath it says last man to score against Manchester City for Newcastle in 1972. That would be wonderful.
Jesus
Christ.
You would, wouldn't it?
Indeed.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it is worrying, Paul. Let's be honest, it is worrying. Like Tev said, we didn't lay a hand on them. I mean, Gordon, I don't know. I'll open it up to you guys. All is Gordon. Just look way off it. Just some of these games in the last maybe since October, late October, November onwards, he's had some good games, and then he's had some really poor games, and that was one of them. He was way out of it, way off it completely. I was kind of thinking that maybe they could substitute him at halftime. I know it's a bit drastic, but I don't know. His head's not in it sometimes, and he's just not at the races.
I think
who do you bring on?
Do you remember he did that? He did an interview with Gary Neville, Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, he
talked a lot about. He puts a lot of effort into visualizing how he sees his game plan for the day and things he's going to try and things he's going to do, and you feel like when it's immediately it's not going to work, that's not going to happen as you thought it would be. That's almost it. It's kind of like all or nothing kind of a thing. That's a bit extreme. I mean, look, he's a professional footballer and he's a far superior athlete than all of us will ever be, I think. But it's just when it doesn't start, it's almost like when it doesn't start well for him, that it just continues. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's the Newcastle thing. When we don't start well, we make life difficult for ourselves. The one thing I wanted to say though, Tev, thinking back on some fixtures from this season, because we've obviously been very roller coaster, but
Yeah.
we've usually responded well off the back of a good beating. Let's put
Good
it that way. So
hiding. Yeah.
if we go back to like Brentford, beginning of December, we lost 4-2, and that was a good hiding. We
Yeah.
then went on this incredible one. We beat Leicester 4-0, beat Brentford, beat Ipswich, Villa, beat Man United, Spurs, Arsenal. And then obviously Bournemouth, we got another hiding. And then we reacted by beating Southampton, beating Fulham, beating Arsenal again, beating Bournemouth. There is optimism in terms of we've seen ourselves bounce back after a good beating. Is that is I suppose all I want to know, Tev, before we talk about Forest, is that happening this weekend? Because I'm traveling over and I have Krisha with me. I need something.
Well, if you think about it, like, look at the manager that we have. Like Eddie, like, he probably cried himself to sleep and losing 1-0. So you could probably think about how he was probably rewatching the game kind of for City kind of when he got home. So I think if anybody, I think he's probably got into the players kind of like that's not up to the standard, you know. So we're trying to kind of keep that standard up. So definitely 100%. I think in terms of our transition and kind of being kind of where we want to go to, maybe stop the blip, stop the hiccup before actually kind of saying, oh, we need to kind of win all these games, you know, because again, it's like the Milan game that we lost kind of last season that myself and Paul were at. Sometimes, you know, can you change tactics? Can you get the draw, etc. without kind of just saying, right, we're going to play shy today? Because again, we've seen Gordon kind of play really bad, but then I remember the Villa game at, say, Stephen's Day, where I think he scored a scream in the first 30 seconds or a minute. So there's a few players that we have, if they don't start fast, i.e. Bruno, i.e. Gordon, Joe Linton, etc., that you can nearly tell, right, Jesus, well, that's the game, you know. So I think Forest is going to be electric, but again, as we kind of progress, we'd want us kind of be more consistent in terms of who we play, you know, because there's other teams that have gone to City and caused them problems, you know. Just before, they were like 9 games in a row with no wins, you know, so it's all about
I'm worried about Forest. If they play a 5-man midfield, which have done very well this season against our 3, and if it is Willock, which I think it will be, and Tonali and Bruno, my God, they better start quick. That 5 could swallow us up, and before we know it, our old friend Chris Wood has got a hat-trick.
Yeah,
For sure. You and I are traveling to Newcastle. We're going to chop some wood down out of this forest. No.
How long were you working on that? No, honestly, how long?
All week. I was even like, can I get this into the title of the podcast? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what
money well spent.
I tell you, words.
Wow.
Moving swiftly on. Now, look, just to summarize on the City thing, the one thing I'll say is Marmoush has been probably one of the best players in Europe this season. And I'm not going to be bitter and say, well, it's grand when you can go and spend 200 million in January to go and fix your problems, and then what happens? It works. But you know, he settled in, played a few games, was doing okay, and we talk about the wrong day for him to click, and by Jesus did it click. But that's why they paid 75 million for it. He is number 2 in Europe for goals and assists combined, behind his countryman Mohamed Salah. That's the numbers he's been putting in. So, you know, this man's got a hat trick. Sometimes you just have to say, look, this lad has just put in a 10 out of 10. Took every chance he had. Good finishes. And yeah, we made it easy, but you know.
Look, I just want to say, look, right, I think we're all thinking this, right? Because Liverpool do it a lot. Yeah, the long ball up to Salah, on the hop, over the defence, and he goes around the keeper or he lobs it over them, right? Marmoush just did that to us like last week. And his countryman can easily do that at any time.
Learn from mistakes.
Hopefully there's a lot of learning, because Trippier looked like he went for a header and he didn't get it. He missed it. It wasn't Trippier, it was Trippier, right?
It was, yeah.
We're probably the best team to do that against. Like, I know we have the pressing kind of centre backs, which works, but if you notice, when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it's a huge gap. So yeah, and I don't see that stopping. It's just how we time it, because you know, like once you kind of press with a centre back like that, the spaces are there. You know,
but you see, a press works when your back line is flat like this, to an extent, as flat as can be. But against Man City, Cher was up in midfield, and then Trippier is suddenly deeper than everyone. And it's like, where the hell has the shape gone? And you're just asking for trouble. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on it too much, because fuck me, I was mad when that game was finished. Because we had a lovely little meet-up in Galway. We had a nice little meet-up in Galway with a few of the lads, and it just rained on our parade. But myself, Chris, and Derek had a lovely few pints anyway and drowned our sorrows.
Boyos.
On Forest, Alan, I just, we just talked about our absolutely diabolical record against Man City away, but with Forest, last 3 games, we've won all 3 of them.
Yes.
Now, interestingly, none of them have been at home.
No.
And now, granted, one of them was a penalty shootout, respect to Sean Longstaff. But at the same time, the way, Christian was just talking about there, about tactics and about how we line up, but we have had Forest number. I know they beat us on St. Stephen's Day back, was it 2 seasons ago, but I feel like this is a team that Eddie Howe, you could argue, might have the number on on Nuno, because we've gone there and beaten them in their place already this season. Now we're in Newcastle. Now we're at home. It's at James's Park. Got to be confident here.
Now, you're not going to like this. We're
Oh,
confident
right.
Tev.
Uh-oh.
Quality review.
Forest play the same football we do. They like you to come at us and then they catch you on the break. I think this is going to be like a basketball match. I think it's going to be one of these. It's either or. It's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be manic. It's going to be 90 miles an hour the whole game. The games we beat them in, we went 1-0 down in both games. And we then, as they were pushing on to get the second, we caught them and then caught them again. And that was the end of it. So it's going to be one of those games. So has Eddie Howe got Espirito Santo's number? I don't think so. I think it's more of a you win this one, I'll win the next one kind of thing. But it's going to be a very good game. It'll be a nice one for the neutrals to watch. I don't think if we'll all be enjoying it if our heart attacks don't happen. Should get a positive result though, hopefully.
Alan's right in terms of we're similar teams. We're also similar. Like they obviously, I think they're 6 points ahead, which hopefully will be down to 3 after we play them.
Yeah.
But, you look at their fixtures and they go and they smash Brighton 7-0. They lost 5-0 to Bournemouth. They scraped through against Exeter, I think, in the cup. And then they went and they lost to Fulham there at the weekend. And I didn't see this game, but I was going to listen to a couple of podcasts, and apparently Fulham absolutely dominated. Like that game apparently should have been 4 or 5 rather than just 2-1. Apparently Fulham just hammered the shite of them. So like they're very like us, up and down, which is good and bad because it makes it very unpredictable, especially for poor Paul and Christo, who are going to be sitting in St. James's Park chewing our hats off. But like, do you see it like Alan says? Does that make this game a free for all, or do you have faith in Eddie Howe and in we're just going to go out, play our game, set up to beat them the way we've beaten them in the past, neutralize their threats, and go and control, or is it just going to be fuck knows what happens, 5-4 win for someone, and I'll be grayer than I am now coming home on Sunday?
I think we can't be naive. Again, I think the coaches have done the homework. So again, play free flowing. The crowd is going to be a huge draw. But then obviously we need to do our research as well. So again, if we know obviously press and centre backs, etc., let's make sure the press kind of goes through and works. Because again, of all teams, I remember Luton as well 4-4 last season, and it was one of those games that you're kind of describing. So don't scare me for Sunday. But basically, it's just back and forth, etc. I do have a sneaky suggestion though. I think just in terms of crowd, in terms of midfield, etc., if Elliot Anderson starts, we win. I think, and I remember kind of the last. Well, again, there was 3-1, but in terms of playing,
Tev no for them, right, and not us, yeah.
But I think if Elliot Anderson starts, obviously a Geordie, etc. I just think maybe the crowd and kind of just coming back, it might affect him a bit. So now he might come on and score, he might start and score 3, but hopefully not. But I just think we should be able to be like, we have Liverpool away next week, and then we have West Ham away, and then we have the final coming up. So and then we have Brighton, and then we have the final. So I think we should use it smartly. 3 points is up for grabs, and it depends who wants more. So, but I think if Anderson starts, I have a sneaky feeling we'll win.
Chris Shaw.
The game is won and lost by 2 things: how hungover you and I are on Sunday morning, and because no matter what we were looking at, I could be blotto and half asleep by halftime. I don't think so though. And then what happens in midfield? Like I just said previously, they've got 5 midfield, and then they've got that tricky guy that we should have signed, Elanga, that's doing very, very well this year. our defense has to play very, very well, like they have done in certain games. That press has to work very, very well, and we have to hit it quick and hard within the first 10 to 15 minutes. If this gets settled down, and I think Al might be right, this could be a yo-yo game where, there's going to be chances. It's going to get chances every 2-3 minutes because there's going to be space all over the place. I don't know. I'm just not sure if we're going to stick with. Does everyone think we're going to play 4-3-3 like we always do? Pretty much.
Yes.
Murphy, Gordon, Isak up front. John Linton's probably being looked after until the final, I would assume. He's not going to be back. Maybe he'll play against Brighton. But I'm just worried. The big question here, does Willock play, or does Miley play, or does Sean Longstaff play? I think it's going to be Willock, and if he doesn't have a good game, we could get swallowed up in midfield. So my heart is saying to me, because we're going, that we win this 3-1 or 4-1, and it's the greatest day ever. But I've got a really kind of itch in the back of my mind here that, if Forest do play as well, and our pitch is quite spacious, and they can knock it about and chances. I've got an awful feeling it could be one of those Liverpool draws, 3-all, high score and draw. So.
Alan, on Crucial's point, because let's go with two questions at once.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming it is 4-3-3, let's say the usual kind of setup. With that gap of Joe Linton, who do you think is going to go in there? And my other question would be, who's the centre back pairing? Because I suspect that's going to change from the last game.
I do think it'll be Willock, but I think it'll be Willock in the last chance saloon, as in if he doesn't grasp his chance here, we'll see Miley take over from Willock as that fourth choice midfielder.
Yeah.
Centre back pairing, you might see if Sven Botman is fit, there's a strong possibility you see Fabian Schär drop to the bench because he has not been covering himself in glory last couple of weeks. The other thing, Tino Livramento gets back into that squad after Trippier's horror show last week. I thought he was abysmal.
He was.
For that Marmouche first goal, there was no need to track the runner. He was 4 yards offside. He had to just stopped, and he didn't. He followed the run and played him onside, and it was just constant sloppy mistakes. Schär made a few sloppy mistakes. Schär's passing was abysmal. It was atrocious. I couldn't understand it. So that's why I do see a change. If Botman is fit, hasn't been in training photos yet, but that doesn't mean that Eddie hasn't turned around to him and said, keep Sven Botman out of as many pictures as you can. We want to spring a little bit of the surprise. That's where I see any of the changes happening. It'll be there.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, to be honest, with Botman. Again, I can't say for sure if he's fit, but if he's anyway close to being fit enough,
get him in.
I think he starts. I don't think there's any point having him on the bench, and then if he starts on the bench and Schär gets injured, then he comes on anyway. So I'm almost like, let's just
start him.
Barnes is on the bench, right? Barnes is back. He's on the bench, right? He's fit,
Barnes is technically back as well, and Wilson is in there as well. Tev, anything on the contrary? Or, do you agree with even the tactic itself? I don't see why Eddie would flip back to that Arsenal tactic that worked very well. I just don't see it happening when it's worked as is against Forest, particularly in the past.
No, 4-3-3, I think it'll be good. I know we're kind of saying that they're going to counter-attack, but again, I remember the game last season with the horror show, but this was 2 seasons back. So they did try press on Bruno a lot. So again, if you think about it, 1 or 2 are kind of jumping on Bruno, there is going to be space on the flanks because I know we're afraid of them, but again, we have players as well to be afraid of as well. Like, we are a good team. So I presume that Bruno is going to have a lot of the ball and will have a lot of space on the wings as they'll kind of, get to a counter-attacking position. But it's up to us to break them down. So, like, the likes of, it's probably a good game for Murphy, in terms of, because again, they are good, but there is space. They have Nico Williams and Ola Aina, which they're playing good, but like Fulham got at them seriously. Like, they got at them really well. So, like, I'd be expecting
Adama Traore in particular, like, he ran rings around, and he's not the same type of player as Murphy, but they similar role. They're both quite one-dimensional. They both kind of run straight lines, all kind of things. So,
Yeah, and remember we have an Italian as well that probably hasn't. We'll see. I
Sandro.
don't know. He wasn't Sandro. So there might be another game like that. I remember the Brentford game at home. I think the cup game as well, where Sandro played fantastic. So it's probably a good game for one of our midfielders to step up. Like Joe really needs to step up. Willock. So we need to make something out. It's not just about the Gordons and Isaacs. Obviously, if we get a penalty, it'll be sorted. But the midfield needs to step up as well.
I do think I for some reason I think it could be Miley. I think Miley gives you a bit more on the ball in terms of ball retention and trying to control the game. Throw Miley in front of the home crowd, and they'll get behind him. And I get sick of looking at other teams with these young kind of Arsenal with Waneri, and so I'm just like, let's just do it. Like let's bring someone in. He's big enough. He's got experience. He's played loads of games last season.
Yeah.
Give him the confidence. And I think the point about Tino was right as well, Alan. I think Tino comes back into this one too.
Yeah, definitely.
Just on Miley, he ran the show against PSG. He can definitely do it against Forest if he has to.
Yeah. 100%. Bring him in. Willock, look at lads. I think we'll all agree, and we all like Joe Willock, right? We all do. I know we do. We discussed it before, but Willock, it really is on his last chance saloon. There's been certain games where he's been put in. Mind the injuries. It's just that he's been out of position. He's looked sloppy. He hasn't taken chances, and he's had some glorious ones last season and this season. And he just doesn't seem to pick the right ball when it's staring him in the face. Whether it's putting away a bloody good chance. What was the game? Was it 2 weeks ago where he missed that chance? What was the chance that he missed a couple of weeks ago?
They all merged the one with him. He's been annoying me for a long time since he came back from his last injury. He hasn't been the same person for me. So I know Tev loves him. I know you're part of his fan club, and I was 100% in his fan club. That last injury ruined him. All his confidence just fell out of his body, and that was the end of it.
He's like Bambi going around on ice in that midfield. He's slipping all over the place. Doesn't know what's going on.
I had hope though.
I
had hope last season when he came back. Remember when he came back against Arsenal? Yeah. I know we got trashed, but it was up now. He scored a goal. He looked good. He made an impact. But I don't know. It's getting stuck on his every time he gets the ball, it's getting stuck on his legs, and he just
it's not. If he is playing this week, he's the key. If he plays really well and the team are on the ball and he's playing well and gets some space to run down and pass it around like an athletic, fast Joe Linton, we could win this 4-1, 5-1, no problem if he's playing well. Willock's the key, everybody. Willock is the key. Sorry,
I'm still laughing because he's called Joe Willock Bambi, and he notoriously calls Nick Pope Pinocchio. So just go easy on the Disney movies for a while.
I'm sorry. That's all I've got.
No worries, man. Right. Well, okay. So we've got Forest coming up. It's on Sunday. They actually moved the game to Sunday. I'm flying to Newcastle on the Friday morning. Actually heading to the True Faith show on the Friday night, which should be good crack. And then
shameless plug.
I might
shameless.
Well, I won't be speaking. I'm going for the pints, and then I will be waking up relaxed, waiting for the rest of the impending Irish mags, including Chris show. Yeah. And I know there's a good gang traveling over. Hopefully, we'll have a good evening on the Sunday, but still be relatively fresh. Sorry, on the Saturday, and relatively fresh then for Sunday, because Sky Sports and all of that, they moved the game after I
just for us.
So just for us. So. How sad I have to go to Newcastle for 2 nights instead of 1. Tragedy.
You look heartbroken.
Heartbroken.
Last question then on Forest. Alan, starting with you. Prediction on score, please. I'd never let you get away with it.
3-2 to Newcastle.
Oh,
how's that? Chris show.
Oh, God. 3-1 to Newcastle, and everyone should try Jollibee chicken in Newcastle. There's a suggestion.
There you go.
Overrated.
It's not overrated. It's delicious.
I was just for a moment I was like, is that another Disney reference? But I don't believe it is.
No, it's a Filipino. It's a Filipino chicken place in Newcastle.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Dev, over to you.
So even though we're not agreeing with Chris show, I actually agree with 3-1 Newcastle. I think, they might get a consolation goal, but I think we'll get it right. Hopefully.
4-1 to the Newcastle lads. I think Forest, like I said, they're up and down. and we've seen like that they have the propensity to concede goals and collapse. And again, just back in St James's Park, hopefully a decent like Sunday 2:00 game. Hopefully, pretty decent crowd and atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. And we need it. And this is a huge game. Like they will go like Forest will go 9 points clear if they beat us tomorrow or on Sunday. Like
where are you, Paul? I'm in the Milburn stand, just by the corner flag. So I hope to get a celebration coming at me.
I'm somewhere in the Leazes, I believe. I need to have a look again. Actually,
do I predict another vlog?
Oh, that's happening. Oh, that's happening. As soon as I get to the airport, the vlog is happening. I'm going to just record little short videos.
Chris Show is going to be dressing as various Disney characters throughout the day in the vlog.
Singing 64 Zoo Man.
Peter Pan and St James's.
I'm a real boy. Right.
This is descending into chaos.
Dear.
I love it.
We're not going live anyway. Anything we do will be recorded, and we have the option then to never release it. Okay. Right. Let's move on to let's call it definitely guaranteed happier things. At least in the medium term anyway. Because even though we've got a lot going on in the league and we've got a huge game at the weekend against Forest, as we mentioned, lads, less than a month's time, the Geordies and the Irish Mags and others will be taking over London once again. And we said we bring Tev on because Tev is the man with the plan. And as we mentioned, we've been doing loads of work behind the scenes. I haven't done any of it, but we've been doing loads of work behind the scenes, planning to make this basically a massive weekend for the Irish Mags. Tev, I guess, is the first place to start. So that obviously starts with London, where the game will be taking place. And we know we'll have gangs traveling there. Then for those staying on Irish soil, we're obviously putting plans in place to get as many Irish Mags out, enjoying watching the game together and hopefully celebrating 90 minutes later. And even there's a contingent of just the dedicated hardcore who are going to just go and hit Newcastle up because let's face it, Newcastle is going to be emptied out. So there'll be a lot of space and a lot of clubs and pubs that will be happy to have money spent in some of those bars. Tev, where to begin on the Carabao Cup weekend?
Right. A lot of lads thirsty for pints. I think the great thing about this is just the community aspect of it. Like we have the opportunity to do stuff in Newcastle, London, and then also all around Ireland, and people are asking for it. It's not something that we know, oh look, we're going to do and see what happens. But for London, we'll probably kick off. So again, there's been a lot of plans being put in place in terms of getting everybody together, whether it's the Saturday pre-game or Sunday. Look, we know as Irish Mags we're not going to get tickets, but I think as a supporters group, well, we just care about the experience, making sure that we're all together. So for London, we were able to kind of agree on the sports bar and grill. So in Old Street. So we have a venue of probably capacity about 100 to 115. That's probably been taken in probably 20 minutes. That was launched. You're going to have all our Irish Mags kind of there on the Sunday from 9 a.m. So pre-game from 9 a.m. to kind of 4:30. And also watching the game with Irish Mags there. So we have about 100 plus confirmed and we are at capacity. Again, if there's any more tickets, we'll let you know. But again, that's free of charge. So it's just making sure that there's a fan zone for Irish Mags and that lads feel comfortable. Again, some will come with their family and friends, but some will come by themselves as well. So again, for that person that was 50-50, it's fantastic to get messages and kind of say, actually, do you know what? Because you guys are down there, I'll kind of travel. So again, London is going to be absolutely mad. And that's the Sunday. If you walk back the Saturday, half of us are kind of flying down there until we'll be around kind of King's Cross in the afternoon. So I think what we said, we just want to kind of join the madness. So again, we'll be around kind of in the afternoon and then go what the flow is. But again, just kind of saying to lads the opportunity, if you want to join, come down. And look, there will be lads kind of watching the game with their family and friends. There will be lads kind of having other plans. And that's fine. Like, we don't expect everybody to come in and kind of huddle as a group. But that option will always be there where you can always kind of come with the Irish Mags and enjoy the madness, So Saturday, for people coming, we have something planned. And then Sunday, Jesus. And then Monday's Paddy's, but we crawl back to Ireland. We crawl back to Ireland on the Ryanair. But it's just fantastic.
Hopefully with a smile though, Tev, and a Carabao Cup trophy that we've robbed and brought across the Irish Sea. No, maybe we shouldn't do that. Actually, no, lads, don't steal the Carabao Cup.
Oh,
Do it. Do it.
Do it. Do it. Bring it back to the Bleakers. Put it up there.
That's class. I'm pretty sure all 4 of us on this call are going to be hitting up London, lads.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be so good.
I didn't get to go 2 years ago, and I was devastated. I ended up having to watch it with my family, my brother and his 2 kids who were all Man United fans, and it was tragic. So I'm feeling a lot better about this one, especially just with the numbers of the Irish Mags.
Please.
And as Tev said, we're all going to try and end up in the same place, but there's so many places around. As long as we're all nearby and that we can all congregate before, after, in the gaps in between, that'd be the main thing. Now, I have a very scary question. If we're all traveling, and a lot of the Irish Mags and a lot of the lads who are usually in charge of things are traveling, Tev, who are we leaving in charge of Ireland?
Sean Bowes. Johnny. No, I think
insert meme of dog with everything on fire around. This is fine.
Yes.
You'll find them in Rosie's. But look, as I said, for the Irish Mags, there's just options everywhere. So not only do we have plans in London, and I know Al kind of has the full list, but we also have meetup plans in Ireland, which is 6 meetups all across the country. So I know Al you can see there in terms of Dublin. Yeah, maybe.
You want me to spit it out for you? Yeah, right. So Dublin, obviously we have the Bleaker, which is Bleaker Street Bar, 68 Dorset Street Upper. We have Cork, Quinlan's Bar, Cork, which is 18 Watercourse Road, Blackpool, Cork. Then we have Limerick, which is Hunter's Bar, 109 O'Connell Street, Prior's Land at Limerick. We have Mayo, which is Cozy Joe's, Bridge Street, Cahernamart. Oh, I'm butchering that. Westport, County Mayo. We have Belfast, the Doyen, 829 Lisburn Road, Belfast. We have Laois, which is the Railway Bar, Station Road, Cooltederry, Port Arlington, County Laois. So that is 6 meetups from Dublin, Cork, Limerick, Mayo, Belfast, and Laois. All for the final.
Fantastic.
Gonna be unbelievable.
I mean, there's a good chance for the majority of guys, bar the ones who live in the islands and the outskirts, that you're probably no more than an hour and a half away from one of these meetups.
You couldn't be.
I mean, Ireland's small, obviously.
Yeah.
Plenty of options. That is absolutely class, lads. And I'd love to think there's someone out there who's going to do all 6 in the one day. And if I wasn't traveling, I'd almost be like, challenge accepted. I'd hire a driver and fill the car with
we challenge somebody to do all 6, and then
Sean Bowes.
Sean Bowes. But it's fantastic. As I said, we're traveling to London, kind of doing this. Obviously, in terms of the London meetup, the fans of Irish Mags, free of charge. A majority of us are traveling over. We have 6 meetups in Ireland as well that we're kind of trusting people to kind of take care of. 2-3 years ago, there was 8 of us in the counting. So. You can see the growth and stuff like that, but we're only volunteers. We're doing this, and due to the love of the club, love the community, etc. But it's fantastic to see, So it's not just us; it's actually the people going as well. So I'm generally excited to meet up with everybody in London. Excited to see people meet up across Ireland as well. So again, it's a genuine thing, So get involved, And
it's a massive rarity as well, It's a massive rarity. This gives us a massive excuse to get us together in huge numbers. Yeah. And, we get lads who travel, and we might see a couple of times a year, but I don't think we're ever going to be out as big as this. And like we said, we don't get into finals all the time, Alan, right?
No, not really. Just on these meetups, it was the first time that I was getting messages saying, can I organize my own meetup somewhere? And I was like, you can do whatever you want, lads.
100%.
It was unreal getting messages like that. I absolutely loved it. And on the cup final thing, haven't gotten to many recently, but in the future, we're going to be in one every year.
Yes, we are, Al. Yes, we are.
Bigger and better. 2 this year, I heard.
Look, I'm gonna this is a kind of special thing. We've got Tev on. I wanted to give the Irish Mags something very special, right? And this is an announcement, okay? If Newcastle win the Carabao Cup final, I will take my hat off. Live in London, and also the next podcast after the Cup final. I will no longer wear a hat.
If I knew he was going to say this, I would have had the Tom Jones music ready. You can leave your hat on.
Just leave it on. Just don't take it off. Leave it on.
Oh, stop.
I mean, this is up there with when Gary Lineker said he'd strip down to his jocks when Leicester won the league. Chriso taking his hat off, that's even more impressive. And like, just you've heard
Put
it
in a
here
blog.
first, folks. You can't get that anywhere else, only on the Irish Mags show. Tev, you bring out the worst in him, Tev. I don't know why. I know. Put on a vlog anyways, but I know it's fantastic. And as I say, I still have a feeling that I know the semi-final for the FA Cup is in Wembley, is it?
It is.
We'll see you there again.
Might not be the only Wembley.
Might not be
One step at a time. God, I don't know what Chris was going to take off if we win the FA Cup as well.
Oh baby!
Oh my God.
Baby!
Irish Mags after dark.
Dude, oh dear. That OnlyFans for the Irish Mags is working.
OnlyFans for the Irish Mags.
I won't be allowed on this podcast again.
Tev, you had a good run, but you're never back. You're never coming back. Tev, last point then on Carabao Cup final weekend is Newcastle. So we're going to have, I believe, if I'm right in saying it, there is a couple of lads who will be in there and travelling over, right?
Yeah.
Keep me honest.
There is, yeah. So that's the one we're looking at now, kind of in terms of a meet up in Newcastle. So again, we actually have a lot of kind of Irish Mags living in Newcastle and have a lot of people that are traveling there anyway. So again, there will be a contingency led by our finest star. But again, the information will be released kind of in due course. Again, it's a huge kind of process to kind of get that involved in terms of Ireland kind of sent up 6 and then London as well. So Newcastle will be the same amount of momentum. We just need to put it together. Brilliant. But I'm sure there'll be kind of a group of Irish Mags together. Just scream Dara, you'll see a flag. And yeah, it'll be sorted.
Awesome.
Dara's the man. Don't follow Dara, lads.
Don't follow Dara.
No, this weekend we need to be careful because Dara's about, right, isn't he? So we might get there. We might get no, but I mean, he's around to meet us on Saturday night. He's around to meet us, so we might get led completely astray. So that's going to be a problem there.
Oh, Chriso, you've never been out with me before in Newcastle. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Excellent. Tev, do you know what? On behalf of all the Irish Mags, big round of applause for Tev and everyone organising.
It's everybody.
Unbelievable.
It's massive.
It's everybody.
It is, but look, there's a lot of work that goes into this, and we know that. And as I said, we appreciate all the work you've done, and we're going to be sending you back to work very shortly when we wrap up this podcast.
I don't want to go back.
I want to stay here. No, Tev. I mean, I don't want to bring in another Disney. We'll have to bring in another Disney reference. He's like Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty or something. We have to lock him back up in the tower to do all
it's not
12 o'clock somewhere. Right, lads. Before we wrap up, do you want to try and do a little quiz between you? Seeing as there's 3 of you, you could do it as a team.
I suppose we have to. Just before you do that,
yes,
meet up in the Bleaker this Sunday, 2:00 for the Forest game. Obviously, yes. So just in case anyone thinks we're not doing it, we do it for every game.
Yeah,
meet up 2:00 in the Bleaker. We will be there. Don't be worried about that.
We're getting so excited about the Carabao Cup final, but it is business as usual on these.
Business as usual.
Yes. Okay. Quiz time. Right, lads. Basically, in the interest of time, you could just shout out your answer. I suppose. Just let it rip.
Joe Willock. No. Is that the answer? Is that no?
Negative. -1 for Chris Shaw already.
Oh, come on.
Lads, there are 19 players who have played for both Newcastle United and Nottingham Forest since the Premier League era, which is 92-93. Might not necessarily be in the Premier League, but it is in that time frame. I'm going to ask you, looking at the list now, it's always easier when I have it in front of me. I'm going to ask you for 15 of the 19 lads between the 3 of you. And we'll just, let's, for the first few, we'll just start with Alan and then we'll go to Tev and then Chris Shaw, just so that you don't shout at the same time. I don't want to hear you. Alan.
Carl Darlow.
Carl Darlow is absolutely correct. He actually played 108 games for Forest and 100 for us, surprisingly.
Jeez.
So that is correct.
He must have started really young with them then.
He was quite young, yeah, and he was good as well for them before we signed him.
I'm gonna go with an Irish legend and Darryl Murphy.
Darryl Murphy is correct. 18 appearances for Newcastle, 60 appearances for Forest, and I think he went to Forest from Newcastle. Krisho.
Pertinho.
Oh, James Percino is
He's my-
correct.
My favorite player.
190 appearances for Forest between 04 and 09 and 72 for Newcastle between 2010 and 12. Alan.
The other part of the double deal we signed that day, which was Jamal Lascelles.
Jamal Lascelles is correct. 60 appearances for Forest and to date 251 for Newcastle. Tev.
I am going to go Jack Colback.
Jack Colback
Lol.
is correct. 105 appearances for Newcastle, 131 when he moved to Forest thereafter. Krisho.
Because Al said Lascelles, I was thinking of Matt Sells. So Matt Sells
is correct. He has so far played 42 times for Forest, 14 unimpressive games for Newcastle. That's in 2016, would you believe? Hard to believe that it's that long ago.
Now he's a great goalkeeper.
Alan.
John Joe Shelby.
The man, the myth, the legend that is John Joe Shelby. 205 appearances for Newcastle and 8 for Nottingham Forest. That did not go too well.
No, didn't work out.
But back at Burnley now, all will go fine, I'm sure. Tev.
Another striker that played for us, Chris Wood.
Christopher Wood. That bollocks is correct. 39 appearances for Newcastle, 5 goals. 69 appearances for Forest, 34 goals. Good grief, lads. What happened?
Oh, sexy. Stuart Pearce.
Sexy Stuart Pearce. Not something I thought I'd be saying tonight. Is correct. 173 appearances for Forest between 92 and 96 and 39 for Newcastle in the 97-98 season. Alan.
Elliot Anderson.
Elliot Anderson is, of course, correct. 80 appearances for us, 12 goals, and only 1 goal in his 26 appearances for Forest so far. Tev. It's going to start getting harder soon, lads.
Andy Cole.
Andy Cole.
Oh.
Andy Cole.
That's a shout. I didn't know he played for them.
Andy Cole.
I mean, we know Andy Cole played for Newcastle, 73 games, 59 goals between 92 and 94. And in 2008, he made 10 appearances for Nottingham Forest that I do not remember at all either. What was that? Right, Krisho.
Yeah. Jermaine Genius.
Jermaine Genius.
You're not allowed to say his name 3 times because you might turn up and, I don't know, assault somebody. So,
all I'm going to say is correct. Moving on, Alan.
I am seriously struggling here now. So I'm going to go for the one, but I don't think he has an appearance for us in the league yet, which is Odysseus Vlachodimos. Are you going to allow it?
So, Vlachodimos only made 7 appearances for Nottingham Forest in 2023. But I do have him on this list as playing 1 game for us in 2024.
Oh, he came on the Carabao Cup and got taken off, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So he did play for us. That's all right. We get it.
So that is correct. Dev.
Now, how many are left? Because I don't know anyone else.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I'm fucked now.
I'm gonna open the floor. I'll tell you, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left, of which you should get at least half.
Any post? Are these all pre-2010 or post? Just so I know.
Okay. You've got a 1 post 2010, 1 pre-2010, 1 pre-2010, 1 just about pre-2010, and where's that other guy? 1 early 90s.
Fuck yeah.
I have one. I can't believe we didn't say
Alan.
it. The Ginger Pearler, Jack Colback.
It's
Say it?
said, I'm afraid.
Oh, sorry. Fair enough.
Oh my God. I think I remember one.
Go on, Krisho.
One, sorry.
His brother scored for Barcelona.
For Barcelona?
His brother scored against Barcelona
That's-
in Barcelona. And he also was the Mackham Slayer. But it's his younger brother we're looking at here.
Ah, yes. Fuck yeah. You're right.
Can Krisho give me his first name, please?
Fuck yeah, Amiobi. Just like Tev said. No, Samuel
Sammy Amiobi is
Joseph.
correct.
Samuel Joseph
66 times for Newcastle. I'm surprised to see 81 for Nottingham Forest.
Unbelievable.
One more down, lads.
Any hints going?
I've got 3 strikers on this list that you haven't said.
Any more hints going?
No, it's not him.
One of these came up in a quiz recently, I think. And Alan, I think it was you that got it. And there was a reason it was you that got it. Because of an association you have.
That leads me to a Coventry link.
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, big trouble.
Leon Best didn't play for them.
No,
Darren Huckerby?
No.
Darren Huckerby.
Darren Huckerby is correct.
Hey,
Played 9 games for Nottingham Forest in 2002. Wowza.
No, guess. Total guess.
Fair play. Now we've got another striker. He's a big, strong striker. I don't know if he played Premier League for us in 2009. Where were we in
Did we get him on loan from Villa?
Yeah.
Quite possibly.
Marlon Harewood.
Yes.
Marlon Harewood is the correct answer. 5 goals from 15 games.
2009. We were on the
2009.
Yeah.
And he was with Forest for about 12 years, I think, according to the data. Right, I'll see if I can get one more out of you.
Lansbury keeps on. I know he didn't play for Newcastle.
No, not him. I've got a striker that came through the Newcastle Academy, played 22 games between 2002 and 2005, and had a loan spell at Nottingham Forest, where he played 5 times in 2003.
Chopra?
No.
Michael Chopra is correct.
Oh,
Absolutely correct answer. Yeah. Played for Forest 5 games in 2003.
it was the year that gave it to me. It was either him or Amiobi. But those years, we'd already said Sammy. So
Yeah.
Fair play. Now, lads, I'm going to let you off there now because I think you've got 2 more that you didn't get, but I just don't see you getting them at all. I've got one who I remember as being a midfielder, only played once for us, came through our academy, but played 6 times for Forest. Came through in the year 2000 with us. I think he was a bit blonde as a young fella, but that's as far as I got. It's James Coppinger, Newcastle United legend, James Coppinger.
Oh,
that's there.
No.
Yeah, and the other one I have on my list came up in the last time we did this, which was that goalkeeper Tommy Wright. He's up.
That's the new guess.
What?
Just Tommy Wright. Yeah, it's him.
Tommy Wright.
Just bank him. And did you see? By the way, lads, did you see Darryl Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was
James Coppinger is 44 years of age and he plays for Doncaster Rovers.
Still playing.
Yeah.
44 and still playing. Fair play to him.
Fair play.
Can't beat that. Right. Well, lads, that's your lot for this week's Irish Mags show. A lot to digest there, folks. We're going to be updating the irishmags.com website with all of the information we discussed, but everything is already in the WhatsApp groups. So, yeah, keep an eye on the website. We'll be announcing more news and updates as it comes. There's so much to come as well. There's an awful lot happening. A lot of games coming thick and fast. But we'll just, for now, we'll do the Eddie Howe cliche. We're only looking at the next game. But that's only because myself and Chris are going on the piss for the weekend.
Yeah. There might not be a podcast.
That's all that matters.
Just be vlogs.
Let's see if there's a vlog next week. It's anyone's guess. But if there is, you can be sure that it'll be myself and Krisho and Dara and Bambi and Pinocchio and Shrek and all the Disney characters in Newcastle. Check out all our socials below. And as usual, we'll be back for more Irish Magnus next week. So until then, we shall say, how are the lads? Slán go fall, and we'll see you all very soon.
Slán.
Take care, guys.
Slán.